Hi again, it's Ashley, and today in this video, I want to share with you how I grew my side hustle floral design business that I grew from my house with 3 kids and a full-time job into a full-time six-figure floral design business. So let me tell you a little bit more about how I did it. Okay, so it was not easy. It took a long time. I have other videos that'll share more about exactly what I would recommend so it does not take you like 10 to 15 years to grow your floral design business. But I did want to share how I was able to grow my business from home. And again, I really grew slowly. Like I was not interested necessarily in jumping right into the full-time floral business. And that's mostly because of some kind of trauma I had around like small business, owning a small business from when my parents owned small businesses. They weren't always so successful. And so I had a little bit of some very anxious energy around actually going full time. So that's part of the reason why I did not go full time for a while. Like I just liked the steady income. And until I knew I could replicate that on my own in my small business and more, I wasn't willing to move from my full time job. But one thing that I knew from the start that I absolutely loved the idea of was how can I save money while growing my side hustle, right? I think that always has to be like a key factor if you're going to be successful. And I learned it firsthand. That was some of my like money trauma was around like not feeling secure because money was spent in ways I felt right. Like I watched my parents do things that weren't always the savviest, like from a business perspective. Mom, thank you for watching this. I appreciate the support, and she knows this. um, but my dad passed away this last year, and I know he would say the same thing. Like, you have to just be really frugal and savvy, especially when you're starting out in a small business. And I think that's why so many small businesses fail these days. It's like a crazy number of small businesses fail within the first few years because a lot of people aren't able to think about like the cost analysis of like what's worth spending money on and what's not. So the first thing that I did was like assess that. And for me, it just wasn't worth, especially starting out in small business, it was not worth the rent to have like a formal studio elsewhere. It was not worth the time away from my family to go to that place, especially while I was still working full time. And so what I ended up doing was we were able to sort of make an old back patio. We were able to makeshift that into what is still now, right now, my home floral design studio. And so it was enough space. I brought in some tables. I'll try to share some more of my studio, maybe in a future video, actually, of like a little tour of how I set it up. But I do have some photos that I'm showing you right now of just like storage and some cool like tables and ways that I could really organize myself with the bases and the product and then have room to move around. So I can get 3 to 4 even like part-time like staff who help me into this space now. And we can really churn out some like large scale weddings in here, which is really cool. In a floral design business, obviously you need to keep, or at least where I am, we're in the South, I'm in Florida. So we do need to keep the flowers cold as they would be like in a floral cooler. And so there are some really cool ways to do that. We installed an AC unit in the back here in this like renovated space. Um, and then there are things called cool bots that you can actually purchase that even keep the temperature lower in the space. So you don't technically need like a truly like a floral cooler, which also are thousands of dollars. And again, I still am not willing to spend on that. I just really feel like where I can save, I save. And so you can look up just like cool bots and, they do take some installation. And so that would be just like consider like, if you need to find someone to get that installed, but still like a cost savings. And so what I do is I just cool the whole room that is my home studio in this part of my home. And it has worked wonderfully. I also have been really diligent and savvy about understanding how to process flowers and keep them fresh as long as possible. Just there are different like sprays and ways of even processing the flower, right? Like keep them in the water for an hour and then cut them and then make sure the water is cool if needed for certain flowers, or make sure, for example, with poppies, which are like notoriously challenging, you want to burn the end of that stem so the sap doesn't get in. Like there are ways that you can work with each flower to ensure that they are processed well and accurately and that they stay, hydrated as long as possible and the like. So all that stuff is really good to know. And I'm sure I'll share more videos on that too. But those were ways that I really helped ensure that the small side business home side of it didn't interfere with the quality of the product. Like I didn't need to have a huge studio and 10 employees to make sure that the quality of the product is great and that the end result is beautiful. Similarly, I use an
When you
old
get there,
van
they should
of
have a
my
cart you can
mom's
borrow,
to
and you could
transport
put them all on the
a
cart.
lot of
Okay.
materials. Sometimes if like a U-Haul is needed, I know a lot of other small business owners that also do that. You can just rent a U-Haul for a day. So again, you don't need a huge refrigerated truck driving all over creation. You certainly can do that if you feel like it's right for you and your business, but I still don't have that, and I have never felt that I did need it. And I, again, I'm in the South, I'm in Florida. So we crank that AC up, we immediately move, right? Like flowers from our studio into that truck, and we take it where we need it. So I have done destination events where we would, in that case, like rent vehicles or, the like. And in those cases too, a lot of times folks, if they're not like in their home studio, will rent like an Airbnb or do the flowers like in that type of setting, again, with the AC turned super low. So that's how a lot of even truly, like pro tip behind the scenes, that's how a lot of luxury destination florists do it. Like that's how those events happen. So there really is no secret sauce other than just like knowing how to do it well and to keep those flowers processed well. That's really the key, right? So make sure you're educated on those things. But those are just some of the ways that I've utilized effectively, truly, my home studio in order to grow my business very successfully. I'm super proud of it. I'm mostly proud of how much I was able to save to go back into the business by doing this. Sometimes I do daydream about a storefront, and maybe that will happen one day, but I think, again, it's always really critical to think about what does that rent versus maybe owning a space or a building look like? Like, how can you make the smartest investment for your business? That's always how I try to think about it. And I'm super proud of this little space. When we renovated, I will say we put down like really nice looking, um, kind of like a herringbone flooring, but it's like a laminate vinyl that's super easy to clean up. Like, again, you don't have to sacrifice design, but it was a really reasonable cost, and so it looks beautiful. And again, saved me money. So I hope this is helpful if you're thinking about starting your own floral business, or in any type of business from your home. These things have helped me to be successful, and I'm so happy to share it with anybody who will listen, because I think anybody can do it. And if I can, share and maybe save you the time that it took me to figure all this out, I'm so happy to do that. And so I wish you all the luck. If you're watching this video, you were drawn to this video. I hope it helps. And until the next time, I hope you follow along on our journey at Garden and Grace Florals on YouTube. See you later.